Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you all have an amazing day. We're starting off with the black pieces against a 2018 from Kosovo? I don't think I've ever heard of that country before. Is it a country? Is it, I don't know. I don't know what else it could be. It looks cool though. I have no idea where it even could be, but hey, cool. We've got a Norwegian wrap they decided to take, which I don't think is the best sequence of moves for white. That being said, it's not going to be bad at all for white. Sort of like a Sicilian, I guess, with knight f6 like we used to play. So we know some of the themes. The bishop has to sort of come to g7 rather than working round, which might be a bit more of a natural square. And because we've played g6 as well, it means white will be up a tempo as well, which isn't necessarily a good or bad thing, because we obviously have got our bishop on a better square, but it's just the thing we need to be considerate of, I think. E5 is the usual break. E5 is the usual break. The obvious problem is that knight takes, bishop takes. Doesn't exactly work out for us, I don't think. So after knight takes, we would have to do bishop takes and then knight takes, which probably does work, actually. Knight takes, because we're hitting the queen with a tempo, and they can't do the same to us. They have to take back and then takes with knight. Probably takes with queen. I think that works. If not, we're just going to be weakening their d-pawn, which will work out in the end for us. So I think e5 is the correct move here. And the biggest thing we have to be wary of is our kingside, because they can potentially get a decent attack going on our kingside. It's just something to be wary of. We have potentially e-takes. Potentially. Wow, that is insane. I don't think so. I think bishop takes is fine. Then knight takes, pawn takes, and then like takes. I don't think works out for us. So we probably have to take. We could move it back. We could even just go f5. Bishop f5. I don't hate. It's not ideal. I don't hate it though. We'll do that. We'll do that. And the difference between this and the regular Scandinavian is that the bishop can actually go back to g6, which might be better. I don't really know. I'm making it up as I go here. Very much making it up as I go. We can't go back to e6 because of the pawn fork. And obviously we have to move our queen because this is covered by the bishop. Where do we go? We probably go to d6. Probably go to d6. We're going to d6. Hey ho, we've done it. Yeah, and then they push. Can we go up? And probably not. We could potentially go there. We could also go back to b8. And work around this way. Could be not bad. Although bishop takes pawn is irritating. So we could go back to a5 and threaten this. But then by taking that, we're sort of really just opening up lines. And it is also defended, by the way. Let's go to b8. Let's go to b8. Why not? We can think about pushing. But I'm scared to take these because at the end of the day, we're just opening up lines for them. They go there. That's strange to me. That's strange to me. Because now that's relatively secure. With the knight there as well, that's relatively secure. They're probably looking for c5, but c5 I just take, so they need to get a rook across first. Probably the f rook. And now we can try to maybe offer... Oh, they go with the a rook. See, I would have liked like something on c1 as well. So if you get this rook across, you can get this rook on c1 as well. And now they're threatening to push, which I don't like. I don't like. So we could play for, also not really. If we go queen d7 and they move the queen somewhere, then we're at risk of getting trapped on g4. But we could take, queen takes check, king there, check, knight back. Nah, doesn't really work. Yeah, so that's not ideal. We could also go bishop d7. Isn't horrible. c5 takes. Isn't horrible, actually. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's bringing more pieces towards our king, which I like defensively. The bishop's still on this weak light square, which I like. They're threatening to do that, but they can't take that because the knight is good there, covering. I don't really want to go queen b6 because after takes, we're weakening our position even more. So I think e4 could be a shout. We could also go h6, stopping anything coming to g5, which I don't mind either. So let's go h6. Let's go h6. We're under fire for sure. We're under very heavy fire, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's gonna be awkward. It's gonna be awkward, and we're gonna have to fight to stay alive. But to say this is outright winning for white would be a very hard claim to make. A very, very hard claim to make. We're going to go to f6. That was the point of playing h6. That's irritating. That's tricky. That is tricky. Okay. They're threatening mate in one. They're threatening mate in one. That's annoying. That's the problem. We can't really do much about it. We're going to have to sack a piece. We're going to have to sack a piece. Let's sack the knight. Let's sack the knight. We have to, really. It's unfortunate, for sure. But now at least their threat's gone. So we've got 2 pawns for the piece. Their threat is mostly gone. It's still scary, don't get me wrong. But it's a lot less scary than it was, for sure. Yeah, they trade off. Fine. We can try... They go all of the trades. They go for everything off. I don't hate that. We can get this pawn back after an e4. Actually, no, knight there. Or bishop there even is annoying. Yeah, bishop there. Or queen there would work as well. We'll go queen e7 just to stop things coming in. It gives us a bit more flexibility, I think. F5, e4, f4, f3 even plans. I don't see their plans. They're threatening takes. They are threatening takes. They're full of tricks. Our opponent is very much full of tricks. Very much full of tricks. Let's go queen d6. Covers that nicely, I think. And then again, f5 is our big plan. The queen's covering g6 from like a knight h4. And it's covering d4 as well, which could prove annoying for them. We'll go f5. They're trying to get these to push, which we potentially should be scared of. It also means push doesn't come with the threat of takes. They threaten to trade off the queen. I don't think that's horrible for us. It frees up our pieces a bit. But the question is, can we do anything with it? I think we have to, right? Maybe even go g5. Stop the knight going to h4 because our queen no longer covers g6. Bishop there is annoying. Bishop there's horrible. We have to do takes. Then we're playing against the bishop pair. Now we can go e4 because the knight can no longer go to any of these squares. So it has to go there. Oh, yeah. And now it's borderline out of use there. Maybe we get the king involved. Maybe we get the king involved. Why not? The knight's got to go to there. Maybe we work the bishop around this way. Maybe we work the bishop around this way. I don't hate. They go for that. Now, we probably don't want to en passant. We probably don't want to push either. We could just ignore it. Could we throw in the check? Oh, could we throw in the check? Does a check do anything for us? We definitely don't want to en passant, right? We definitely don't want to en passant. I'm going to throw in the check. I think that's nice. And by nice, I mean not horrible. Then push, then takes, maybe. No. Then maybe just bishop f6. Maybe just bishop f6. I don't hate. Oh, I just hit the mic there. Sorry if that was loud. Yeah, we'll get the king up. We have to, really. Probably want to play a b5. Stop the knight coming into here. The king's covering this pawn, which is important. Stops check as well. Then where's this bishop going? We probably want to drop it back and play c5. We can take there. That splits up their pawns and make things difficult for them. We can actually take because there's no bishop takes. 55 seconds. Very low on time. Knight back is interesting. We probably... Yeah, that's awkward. Knight back is awkward. They take. That's probably smart from them. Probably smart from them. But then we get connected passes with a bishop pair. Could be scary. Could be scary for them. Especially if we get some nice discovered checks going. It could be rolling. You know, it really could be rolling. Knight goes back. Yeah. King up bishop there. Yeah, let's go bishop back and then push c5. We need to play everywhere. We need to play on all sides of the board. Ooh. Now we can go bishop there, though. Now we can go bishop there. This bishop's sort of locked out the game now. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. There. There. We probably take. Yeah, we probably have to take, right? Knight takes, I think it's fine. We'll go bishop there. Threatening push, potentially at some point. They look to trade off. I think that's fine. We need to get the king out. Oh, we need to get the bishop to cover that pawn as well. That's annoying. We have to potentially make a passer as well. He's not horrible. I mean, we're probably not winning. Ah, fork. Then again, how do they stop this? Then again, how do they stop this? Oh, they go king down. Yeah, but if we go up, yeah, king takes there. I don't think so. I don't think we're doing this, unfortunately. They need to find king d4. They need to find king d4, which they should do. They don't. Now we're threatening this. Oh, yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I think it's safe to say we're not doing it. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we're not doing that. It was a valiant effort, though, I think. A valiant effort. I don't even remember the game, to be honest. I was so focused on that endgame. I don't even remember the game. What happened? That was it. It was like a weird Sicilian with g6. And yeah, I think the way we played it was fine. I like the moves are all there. I think that the computer's having issues with the move order. And apparently you do take this. I thought knight takes was fine. And because they had the tempo to move the bishop out, this doesn't work anymore. You go queen c4? What? And you're wait, you're not down a piece? You're not down a piece? What else did I think? I think bishop takes was fine. Did I think, I don't know. Did I think bishop takes was fine? How are you not down a piece? How am I not down a piece? Yeah, takes. So you can't take this because of takes. Right? So it takes. Then the bishop just comes back. Oh. Okay, fair enough. I think I just miscalculated that. And by not doing that, we've given them the chance to push c4. And I didn't want to go here because of bishop there, but that obviously doesn't work because the bishop and queen are lined up now, which is silly. I guess there are other things they could do. I don't know. You've got this fork to be worried about. Oh, but then what? Rook takes d4? What? Rook takes d4 is insane. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Oh, because the rook no longer forks after you sack the exchange. Wow. That's wild. Yeah, you sack the exchange, and then that's no longer a fork on the rooks. Wow. And they take, rook takes, and you take this knight at the end. Wow. And you're down the exchange, but you've got a pawn for it with the bishop pair on both sides. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. D5 makes things very awkward for us. Apparently we have to go E4. Takes, queen takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. No. Yeah, and then takes. Oh, they've got check first. And then takes with check. Then you get that. And you try push these pawns. That's your advantage. 2 pawns up. Wow. Fair enough. Fair enough. We played A6 to defend the pawn because the bishop and queen were both hitting it. The bishop goes back to hit the queen. I also thought about queen d7, but I think that leads to a similar position where the queen just comes back here and you've got similar threats going. Queen b3, h6, potentially a waste of a move, but I also don't like the bishop or knight coming in here. It gets very ugly. Yeah, c6 is a really nice move. And you might be questioning why I had to give up the piece here for the 2 pawns. They have the threat of queen takes b7, and that's actually mate supported by the pawn. So it's not a traditional pawn fork on 2 pieces, but it's like a tactical pawn fork. Like you're hitting this material and you're hitting this pawn tactically, so you just have to give it up, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. And we did it the right way, so our bishop's still active. We have the bishop pair to play. They trade off everything. Smart. And this is, I think, they potentially could have been a bit more accurate here. What did I think? What did I think? That allowed they allowed us to play, was it G5? Ah, yeah. It was something to do with G5 and this both being hit, I think. Made things very awkward. Ah, it was the pin. It was the pin. Yeah, they didn't play this move. And this is horrible, basically. Because this pawn's pinned to this bishop, which is undefended, and it's hit by the knight as well. They can try play e4, but threatening the knight, but takes. You're threatening to trade off the bishop as well, which would not end well. And at the same time, you're threatening this pawn, so they have to do something about that. And you're just, without any fighting chances, basically. You're just waiting them to take all your pawns, which is not something anyone ever wants. They go knight back, which allows us some space. And this is a really interesting decision. I decided to check. You also have not push because takes. You go down a pawn, and this becomes loose. You have takes as a opportunity, but I thought bishop takes looked nice. You can't ever really push these pawns. And you have like bishop f6, I think, is an option as well. Apparently en passant is the move, and you just allow them the activity back. But that doesn't look nice. Again, you're not really fighting for anything. At least when you leave the pawns on the board, you have pawns to threaten stuff with. The knight comes back in, very annoying. You know, we've got to defend this f pawn, and it's threatening to jump in here and jump in all over the place as well. Not particularly nice. So we go b5 to stop the knight coming in. Takes. The knight goes back again, looking to potentially push some of these pawns, maybe make a passed pawn on the h file. or jump in this way somehow. I'm not quite sure. We drop the bishop back to try get the c-pawn moving. And then they bring their bishop in, which I don't think was ideal for them. I feel like it could get a bit trappy for them, but luckily they had this h4 move, which sort of forced my hand in opening up the position. I should have played bishop e5, which makes a lot of sense, making a pin on this pawn, so h4 does not really work. In fact, it does work because knight can take, which is a bit annoying. And then I guess after bishop there, you go king f6, and now you don't have any check here. What else is there? The bishop comes back, and then we made the mistake of not playing king f6. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. I don't see the point, really. There. h4 is nice, yeah. And they made the mistake of taking with the knight rather than giving themselves a passed pawn that they're most likely going to promote, or at least distract our king away from these two. The bishop goes to e5 to try, I don't even know. Yeah, takes, and I think we should have kept this on the board. The reason is potentially we can try sack the bishop for 2 or 3 pawns. If we can get 3 pawns, it might be hard for them to mate with the bishop and knight. Is easy, especially I think at this level they should be able to do it. The 2 bishops alone are the easier mate. If we manage to get one of the bishops off as well, and as well as these pawns, it might be a bit harder. So it's probably best to keep the pieces on the board. We decide to trade off, and things just don't really go well from here. We had to drop the bishop back to cover this pawn. Unfortunate. Though apparently they can just sack this, which is crazy. We're actually up a pawn here, but they're completely winning. Oh, because of this bishop g4 tactic. Really, really nice. That's a nice little sort of attraction sacrifice. Get the king into a better position. Get our king into a worse position, a better position for them, where a tactic can follow. That's quite nice. We tried to move up c4, and apparently this is drawn. This is drawn, which is crazy. Obviously, we fell for the fork. Not ideal. Though apparently takes, and then e7, and then I guess you go king d6. Oh, king d6 comes with check, so you go e6. They don't have time to take this because then you take the a pawn. So they have to take, and then you don't actually lose your bishop. In fact, you win the knight. So going for that. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. And it's all about getting out of checks because you can't go d6 because then takes comes with check. You have to go to e6 where you're still threatening the knight. They can't ignore this. They really can't ignore this. So they have to take it and give up the knight. At which point, black should be winning. Easier said than done. Easier said than done for sure. Although up 2 pawns, potentially. So he made a huge mistake taking that, not taking that. And then they just take back. And potentially you go after this. They maybe go after this pawn. Maybe it's a pawn race. The king is being a bit annoying with these pawns though. So computer says it's draw. I'll take its word. But realistically, I think after takes, this could go either way. Very much go either way. All 3 ways, really. We messed this up. We missed the fork. Maybe we should have seen it. I mean, we should have seen it for sure, definitely. But at least the king got active, but unfortunately the bishop sits on e2, and the knight comes into this nice square on d4, which covers the c2 promotion square, and we can't get anything up either because the bishop x-rays this a4 square when we try to push our pawn, so it's no good really. And then bishop takes as well. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. It was a fun game though. It's not often you get to play positions like that where you're a piece for 2 pawns, with some actual like sort of chances. Usually when that happens, it's completely winning or completely losing. But we had some sense of counterplay there, I think. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked, and I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye bye.